I really don't want to cover up the same topics over and over again, but there are new developments regarding his story, and it's a very interesting development indeed. So Ashley Lynch, as in the same girl who would dump her $1,000 worth of gaming gear just because the company made a dumb tweet, have this to say about Tracer being gay.
Holiday Gamergate tears.
No, Gamergate is not crying about this fact, Ashley. Now, thankfully, EVA Unit 1 came into the rescue, and out of 5,329 Twitter votes, 75% of them don't care that Tracer is gay. 20% of them like Tracer more on the fact that she's gay, and only 5% doesn't like Tracer on the fact that she's gay. 5%! Most people either don't care or they absolutely love it. Me? I personally love it, but the thing is, I already love it way before this entire debacle, so when this actually comes in, my reaction is just the spark is really not there anymore. And now that it's confirmed canon, we get a chance to see more cosplays like this. I mean, come on guys, come on. You're not just gonna let this pass, aren't you? Now, you might be saying, oh, you're only covering up the same topics over and over again. We already heard your opinions like twice in this entire thing. Well, here's the thing, guys. I want to see more and more of fan arts of Tracer being gay, but that's not the only reason why I decided to do this video. There's one reason, and very unfortunate reason, where things get absolutely not fun, because that would be just the usual business for your typical third wave feminist, because, you know, they're always gonna ruin the fun in everything. Oh, wait a second. I take that back. This is going to be fun. We're gonna get into our resident low-hanging fruit, the Mary Sue, and they have opinions on Tracer being gay. Yeah, I know I made 2 videos in this entire thing, but don't worry. The Mary Sue decided to broaden the topic up to not only just talking about Tracer being gay, but they're also talking about same-sex relationship of fiction in general.
Just let them kiss. The line between sexualizing and sterilizing same-sex romances in media.
Hello, Maddie. Hot Ryu is my husband though, but fuck Rainbow Mika Myers. We're gonna have lots and lots of fun. What's my art choice for today? 2B.
We'll never be satisfied. We want queer representation, but when we get it, it's not good enough. We're always looking for something to be upset about. We keep nitpicking. Even when it's good, we complain there's not enough of it. If they kiss, we say it's sexualizing the characters too much, perhaps even objectifying them. If they don't kiss, it's queer baiting. Why even bother? Including a queer romance, and people will only complain about it. It'll never be perfect after all.
Wow. Did the Mary Sue just looked in a mirror? So this is like one of the most self-aware moments of the Mary Sue. I need to give gold claps to these people. You really live up to your name. I salute you for that.
That's a sentiment I've seen a lot, particularly in the past couple of months, and it's not a sentiment that I expect to go away anytime soon. If I were in a charitable mood about 2016, I might give you a platitude about how things are getting better, and these conversations are growing pains. They are growing pains, but unfortunately, I think that 2017 will not show a marked improvement.
That's because you expect everything to be perfect, you poorly written Mary Sue, plucked out of the deepest depths of fanfiction.net that will make my immortal sound extremely sane.
Back in January of this year, a story went around about other countries, including the United Kingdom, censoring some of the content that appears in Steven Universe, specifically the flashback scene in which Pearl and Rose Quad share a romantic embrace.
Typical Mary Sue. They will only complain to censorship when it doesn't benefit them. We can agree on that one thing, Mary Sue, but please, for the love of God, be consistent on your judgments.
But let's not cast stones from our glass house. Even here in the States, it's not unusual for shows to shy away from showing an actual same-sex kiss, even if the 2 characters in question are canonically queer. Back in 2011, Adventure Time shied away from pairing up Marceline and Princess Bubblegum, even though the show implied it heavily. Legend of Kora's finale, which aired in 2014, became notorious for stopping just short of giving us a kiss between the show's heroines, in spite of the fact that the show's follow-up comic does plan to take their romance to a more physical step.
Well, I can't really say about Adventure Time unless I consult my brother or my cousin who watch that show frequently, but I can say for Legend of Korra. Here's the thing about Legend of Korra. When I see that scene of Kora and Asami actually holding hands into the realms, I was a bit, shocked. It's not that I'm not open for the relationship, I most certainly am. It's mostly because their character development throughout the series was not in a romantic level. It's more of a best friends or sister level. Then I found out that it is canon, and I was like, oh my god, they are being serious about this. And I can see why they decided to do that, but it just came out a little bit out of nowhere. And it is surprising when I first saw it. I'm not complaining that they're being lesbian, technically biased because Mako is going back and forth between them. I just wish that at least there could be 1 or 2 scenes that add more spark into it and punch the romance in. They punched the romance way too late in my honest opinion, but thankfully it was weak enough for a spark, because if it's like a kiss, I would be even more shocked and it would be even more confusing. Again, it's a little bit too late and not enough time to actually contribute into the character development between the two. It's more of a fault of the series and how they did the story in my honest opinion. But baby steps, guys. We're just gonna need to wait for the comics to actually dive in more into some canon Kurosami. It would be nice, right?
But, you might protest, those are kids' shows.
Nah, Kora is a show for teenagers. It has a lot of child-friendly stuff, but it's mostly for teenagers.
I'd say that's debatable, particularly when it comes to Legend of Korra, but regardless, children's programming usually doesn't shy away from showing casual displays of affection between heterosexual couples. Some examples off the top of my head: almost every Disney movie ends with straight people kissing, and last I checked, those movies are definitely for kids. Also, the climax of a Goofy movie ends with a kiss between Max and Roxanne, who are dogs, but definitely straight dogs, thank you very much. Clearly, kids can handle seeing a kiss or two, so long as it's straight.
The reason why kids are not usually shown homosexual stuff is because homosexuality is a complicating thing to process. Even as an adult, kids can process normal heterosexuality because most people are heterosexual, and it's easy to digest in their minds. But homosexuality takes a lot more time for the kids to actually process. I mean, just showing a relatively innocuous picture of Kurosami, we don't want to get the kisses on, and the kid would go, oh, they might be just best friends forever. They need to be a little bit more mature to actually understand this sort of thing.
The implication that a same-sex kiss is somehow inherently graphic and sexual, and also that it's something that requires some sort of complicated explanation that a child wouldn't understand, is a big part of the problem, and unfortunately, it's a problem that also affects even the media that's supposedly for adults.
Now, this is a valid point, but even I, as a casual viewer of the American TV shows, can at least confirm to you that they have tackled gay people overtly. I've seen Jessica Jones tackle lesbians, I've seen Arrow tackle lesbians. In fact, my favorite character in that show is a bi that mostly aligns with being lesbians. Even Sherlock did some teases here and there for the Tumblrites to enjoy. I can see the lack of homosexuality stuff in kids' show, but not in adult show. This is at the point where I have to ask, what kind of cave have these writers been living in? I don't even like Western TV that much, and I know that there are lots of gay scenes in there.
Even when a queer romance appears in a show that isn't for kids, people still tend to see it as inherently sexual and graphic, or mentally place it in a porn category in the brain, simply due to the fact that societally we've classified these types of relationship as adults-only content. After all, a same-sex kiss never appears in a kids show, even though opposite-sex kisses do all the time, and sometimes same-sex kissing is too graphic to include, even in adult content. It's hard not to internalize that message.
Again, you previously said that it's because kids cannot process homosexuality as much as they can process heterosexuality. But I don't know why you have to put the blanket statements on adult American TV shows for not showing graphic same-sex kissing when they already did that. Again, what kind of cave have you been living in? It's American TV, for God's sake. You're a Western site. I understand that you don't understand animes that well, but I expect you to understand things from your own part of the world at least.
Take Yuri on Ice, for example. This 12-episode anime took the internet by storm this year, capturing the hearts of viewers across the world, and even charming professional figure skaters who enjoyed the representation of the sport as seen in the show. But if you didn't know much about the show beyond the occasional screen caps on Twitter, you might think that Yuri on Ice isn't for you, particularly if you are interested in gay porn, so let me just go ahead and clear that misconception for you.
Okay, I watched Yuri on Ice as well. It was alright. What do you think about it?
Yuri on on Ice isn't part of the yaoi genre. It's not porn. There's nothing wrong with porn, mind you, but if you start watching Yuri on Ice and you're hoping for some yaoi or boys love porn, you're gonna be pretty disappointed. If anything, it's the opposite, since it's a relatively chaste, warm and fuzzy romantic story. Again, nothing wrong with that at all. It's great. It's just, not the genre you might think it is.
Oh, no, actually. If you're in for the boys' love, you'd be very, very pleased. Where to even start? They actually take baths together. Victor constantly asked him to sleep with him. Yuri said that he has an emotion towards Victor but couldn't name it, so he named it love. And there's that time where Victor actually kissed him in front of everybody.
Oops, spoilers.
The show has earned criticism, particularly from Western viewers, due to the fact that it has actively shied away from showing physical intimacy between its lead characters.
They took a bath together and they kiss. What more physical intimacy do you need? That's not the criticism of Yuri on Ice anyway. The criticisms mostly came on the fact that the show is just alright in general.
Yuri on Ice doesn't necessarily work as an example of queer baiting, since it does show a romance unfolding between its two male leads. As the show goes on, the viewer comes to understand that they're watching a coming-of-age and coming-out-of-the-closet story, and a beautifully told one at that.
Beautifully? Nah, it's alright, guys. Compared to sports animes in the past, the ones that made Yuri on Ice stood out was the boys' love thing and the surprisingly memorable melodic dubstep opening.
What's radical about Yuri on Ice is that it normalizes the idea of a queer people getting a rom-com, will they, won't they romance. It's sad that this is a rare thing across multiple cultures, but it's still wonderful to see it all happen.
Congratulations, you get Yuri on Ice. Glad that you used that anime as a benchmark. So guys, if you want to please the Mary Sue, make more Yuri on Ice. I don't recommend that, the anime is basically alright, nice try, but could be a hell of a lot better, so make it better than Yuri on Ice. That's what I'm asking.
I've also seen Western viewers blaming Japanese culture for why Yuri on Ice doesn't show as much physical intimacy as desired. However, I think it's important for us to look back at the media that we produce in Western world and recognize that we too have a long way to go when it comes to depicting queer romances in animated TV and elsewhere.
Mary Sue, I'm just gonna ask you this question. Have you actually watched Yuri on Ice? You might notice that in Yuri on Ice, there are lots of scenes where Yuri and Victor are actually being physically intimate. At this moment, if you keep on begging that they need to be more intimate, I am practically convinced that you guys actually want a full-blown hentai of Yuri and Victor, which, don't get me wrong, the fangirls in Tumblr and the fangirls at fanfiction.net that DeviantArt would absolutely love to see those sort of thing, which is why I demand all the fangirls out there who absolutely love these two pairings to please, for the love of God, write more hentais of this entire thing, or do Jinsei if you want to. But keep in mind, Mary Sue, Yuri on Ice is also a sports anime. It's not a full-blown hentai. You're practically asking for Yuri on Ice to be a full-blown yaoi hentai. That's kind of like, you guys are so sexually frustrated, aren't you? Like, go fap to some fanfiction. I'm very sure there are lots of Yuri on Ice fanfictions on fanfiction.net. I know 90% of them are crap, but it's gonna take a while to actually get to the good stuff. Or maybe write one for yourself and actually post it on fanfiction.net. Jesus Christ, like, I'm very convinced at this moment that the writers at the Mary Sue are very sexually frustrated, and they absolutely need a fix to actually cure their sexual frustration or something. Again, just go slick into some porn, Mary Sue. There are lots and lots of gay porns or yaoi porns out there. There's nothing wrong with fapping to porns, okay? There's nothing wrong with it, because I'm reading an article practically begging for a hentai of Yuri on Ice at this very moment. Just go fap to something, please. I need your help, Zontan. I absolutely need your help in this.
I'd like to teach the world to fap in perfect
harmony. First of all, I'm not convinced that a show like Yuri on Ice would even come out here in America at all, let alone show a kiss.
This is a strange problem that I noticed about feminists. You know, there was that time in my first Anita Sarkeesian video where Anita talks about Life is Strange. Now, I love Life is Strange. I absolutely love that game, and She also praises the game for a particular aspect, which is that fat character. But the problem is, praising that fat character actually goes against her argument, which actually makes me believe that Anita Sarkeesian doesn't even play the game that she loves, which makes me believe that feminists don't love anything at all, even to the things that they praise. And this article here shows a great example of it. Like, hello, Mary Sue, don't you know that Yuri on Ice came there in America? It's on Crunchyroll with the dub and the sub release at the same time. Even for a show that you love, how in the name of God do you forget that simple fact? Oh, let's not forget, they actually show a kiss. You can't even be good to the shows that you praised. You can't even be at least factually accurate to the things that you love. I don't understand feminists sometimes. I really don't.
And second of all, we need to only look to Legend of Kora, a show that was happy to show kisses between opposite sex couples, but which shied away from showing us a kiss between two women for the counterpoint on this one.
No, they shied away because they don't have a lot of time to properly develop the romance between Kora and Asami. A kiss would be completely shocking. A grab in the hand would be a nice tease. Still shocking to me, but at least it implies that there will be a relationship between the two. You're gonna need a Kora book 5 to actually make that happen. And make it good. And now, we're going back to Gay Tracer. I want something off-canon for a start. Unfortunately, I cannot find a source for this one.
It's becoming a bit of a running gag online to shout queer baiting, even when a piece of media very obviously depicts a queer couple. It's a rallying cry of shared frustration about a problem that doesn't actually have an easy answer, because sometimes a piece of media really doesn't show the kinds of relationship we want, but we still have to settle for it anyway. That ongoing frustration explains, at least in part, the mixed reactions and uncertainty that surrounded Blizzard's recent reveal that Tracer, the face of their team-based multiplayer shooter Overwatch, is a lesbian.
Okay, here we go again.
Much like Legend of Kora planned to do with their book next year, Tracer's first same-sex kiss unfolded on a comic book page, not as an unavoidable part of the game itself. Of course, plenty of people have seen the comic book by now since the reveal went viral, so it's not exactly hidden from the game's demographic. But it's not like Overwatch put Tracer kissing her girlfriend at her menu splash screen. If they want to, though, that would be fine with me, just saying. It's a piece of extended universe trivia that, in theory, doesn't affect the game, because really, why would it?
Did you literally ask the Tracer kissy to be put in a menu splash? For what? Why? Why would you even... You know what would be a good suggestion, Mary Sue? Give Overwatch a single-player campaign. Make it like Injustice or Tekken story mode. I don't care, just have a freaking story mode. The universe is empty. It absolutely needs that sort of thing.
And therein lies the rub. It doesn't matter. Except that it also does matter at the same time. The day that Overwatch comic came out, I read it, cried, and then spent the rest of the day shrugging and going, who cares? Of course I cared. Yet, I also didn't care. And I feel resentful, somehow. I didn't want to kiss in an extended universe comic for a video game with a massive budget to be something that mattered to me as a person. Because, really, who needs Blizzard's approval? Not I, said the woman crying at her kitchen table. It's complicated, okay?
This is written on a big geek site. I got nothing. I got no comments. But move on, please.
Anyway, as the day wore on and fans waited with their thoughts, I saw at least a couple of my peers floating out opinions into the ether about whether or not the kiss between Tracer and her girlfriend was somehow too sexualized.
Go on.
After all, they pointed out one can't help but notice that these two women are pale, thin, and conventionally attractive. Is showing a kiss between them just a way to cater into male fans? Never mind the fact that many male fans seem too angry about the fact that Tracer is a lesbian to be turned on by her kissing another woman.
That's not a fact, Mary Sue. That's not a fact. That's only a fact in your deluded world. Like, cater to the male fans. Have you ever actually cared for the lesbians who actually find these two characters hot? Like, where's the lesbian gazes here? Like, I don't know how to deal with this, guys. I am basically reading a freaking diary. Like, this is a diary. This is a diary of someone who has mental issues. Let's move on.
It's worth pointing out that these problems, though the lack of body diversity, especially for female characters, and the fact that the characters who don't look the way they're supposed to look, often don't end up having romantic and happy endings. If Yuri on Ice were about a body-diverse bowling team rather than a group of slim, sparkly ice skaters, would it still have the same fandom? I'd like to say yes, but I realize we're not there yet.
Then the show wouldn't be called Yuri on Ice, you imbecile.
However, I think it sets a concerning precedent to frame same-sex kisses as inherently sexual or even pornographic. Like, yes, same-sex couples have sex, and that isn't something that we should be afraid of acknowledging, nor is it something that should be seen solely as an objectified and fetishized act. But also, same-sex couples hold hands, cuddle, and kiss in completely casual, off-the-cuff setting.
You want more intimate same-sex couple scenes? There are lots of them out there. The only problem is you're only sticking it to the mainstream because you know nothing beyond mainstream. That's the problem with journalists. They only write about what's hip and pretend that what's hip is the only thing that exists in the world. Because they live in the freaking deluded minds of the... I don't even... Let's continue.
Queer representation isn't just about depicting a mega-serious, monogamous story for the ages romance that ends in marriage. It should also be about depicting a woman giving a gift to her girlfriend and receiving a casual and happy kiss in response. And maybe that kiss isn't even the narrative climax of the story in question. It's just something that happens along the way. We need that too.
Okay, Mary Sue. Can I ask you this simple question? Why? Just why? Why you absolutely need it? Why do you need these sorts of scenes so desperately? You sound like a desperate drug addict looking for a fix. Maybe because you are.
It is sad to me that so much media hesitates from showing a deep, passionate kiss between same-sex couples, but it's also sad to me that we don't even get a brief peck in the mouth either, and that's even the most casual affectionate display could be seen as somewhat inappropriate, particularly for a child to see.
Yeah, it is, because their brains would go freaking crazy and they would ask tons and tons of questions that would make you go, "Hey kid, educate yourself, shitlord."
This is why Disney's Bob Iger says that Rogue One isn't a political movie, even though it is. Lucasfilms has to worry about selling Star Wars tickets to everyone in America, and there are a lot of people out there who think the Empire symbolizes liberalism.
What?
That's also why I don't expect Star Wars to ever canonize a relationship between Chirrut and Baze, although I do think it's possible we'll see that romance on the comic book page in the future.
Alright, whatever suits you.
I'm not saying that I hold Blizzard games and Star Wars movies to a lower standard or something. I still have the same high expectations for big budget media that I do for tiny, underfunded, underappreciated indie projects. But I am also obviously not shocked when big budget projects disappoint me, and I do realize that for Blizzard, including one gay character in a comic book page was a big deal for their bottom line. That was a decision that probably lasted 2 months of meeting and discussion about how to approach ticking off that one box, and yes, I'm sure they did see it as a ticking off a box. That's depressing too.
You need help. Like, real serious help.
That depressing feeling doesn't seem like something that will go away in 2017. If anything, I expect the next year of media to be bleak, particularly the big budget properties. Playing it safe in Trump's America will probably not look very compelling. Big budget TV, movies, and video games will change. Indie art should, in theory, be the place that we look for better work. But funding for the arts, and for independent media in general, has been decreasing for years. I don't expect that to get better in the next 8 years.
Wow. Do I even have to comment on any of this? This person acts like a drug addict who lost his joint for a day. It's kind of fascinating to read, actually.
Unfortunately, that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop caring. I intend to keep complaining, actually, because I am not yet satisfied. And why should I be? What we have now is not good enough. Yes, Giving up is easier than learning and improving and fighting back against institutions that would prefer not to include these stories or normalize them in society. And yes, I do expect that media will get worse for a period of time. But assuming our planet still exists in 10 years, I think it will start getting better and better again. Let's just do what we can to make it that far.
Yes. Giving up is easier than learning and improving and fighting back. Oh my god. Oh my god, Mary Sue. The wonders that you give to me. Sometimes we should just let these people post these things. I genuinely want to know what's in their mind. They're practically using this site as a freaking diary. I want to know what's going on in their mindset. And sometimes it is so fascinating to read. I don't even have any words to counter it. Like, how am I supposed to respond to this? Oh my god, help me. So, there you have it, folks. The tale of someone who is never, ever pleased. The tale of someone who never had enough. She vent all of her frustrations in a website named after one of the worst fiction tropes of all time, a website with writings that would make my fanfiction sound saner in comparison. And again, thank you, Mary Sue. I would be hoping that 2017 will be constantly disappointing for you again and again and again, until you can finally get to the point and probably write how you want to kill yourself or something. Don't actually kill yourself. I hope writing this blog can be a good exercise to get you out of the news. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more if you wish. You can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.